I never expected that blending my life with my new husband Richard and his son Logan would introduce such richness and intricacy, surpassing the simple unification of our lives. Deciding to share my life with Richard has proven to be one of the most rewarding choices I've ever made, despite the unexpected changes that have accompanied it. At the age of 21, Logan stood at a crossroads, reflecting on his future after finishing his studies. Whenever Richard left for work, it usually resulted in me spending time alone with my son. With each moment we shared, it all seemed effortless. So simple, it's almost effortless. At first, there was a noticeable gap in our relationship, but as time went on, we discovered a path to connect and truly understand one another. Logan exhibited a remarkable level of thoughtfulness and maturity that transcends his years, fostering a truly comfortable relationship between us. At first, I viewed his kindness and courtesy as simple gestures. However, as time went on, brief yet significant moments emerged, leading me to wonder if there was something more profound beneath the surface, something we both seemed reluctant to confront. That morning, everything reached a climax. As I settled in at home, I eagerly anticipated a tranquil day with Richard out of the picture. As I finished my morning routine in the bathroom, I was wrapping things up. The soothing sound of the shower enveloped the room, while steam gracefully ascended and clung to the mirrors. In a moment of serene reflection, I found myself revisiting the conversation I had with Logan the night before. The discussion concluded on a notably serene note. We exchanged our visions of the future that lay ahead for him and the aspirations he was chasing. However, I couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty reflected in his eyes that lingered in my mind. That morning, while I stood in front of the mirror drying my hair, a sound caught my attention at the bathroom door, and Logan's voice echoed from the other side. "It descends softly. Are you here with us?" I was taken by surprise when I blinked. Logan frequently bypassed the customary knock on the bathroom door, especially in the serene early hours of the morning. After pausing to contemplate my reflection, I pivoted toward the door. "Of course, Logan. I'm here for you, ready to support you every step of the way. How have you been doing these days?" Following a brief pause, I detected the subtle rustle of activity emanating from beyond the door. "I apologize for the interruption, but I need to quickly step away to the bathroom. Could you please step in for a moment?" In a fleeting instant, doubt crept in. The steam hung in the air as I enveloped myself in a delicate towel, my damp hair flowing gracefully after the shower. Logan's voice resonated with a sense of purity, creating a natural expectation that he would reach out for something from me. I concurred, striving to keep my response measured and composed. "Welcome, please step inside." The door creaked open with a delicate touch as Logan knocked softly, his voice laced with concern. "I want to talk about something important with you." He donned sports pants, his hair tousled as if he had just rolled out of bed. With a quick glance in my direction, he pivoted to the closet, driven by a sense of urgency to uncover what he sought. Standing before the mirror, I couldn't help but notice a shift in our interactions, leading me to contemplate the evolution of our relationship. Upon entering the room, I felt his gaze linger on me just a moment longer before it finally shifted elsewhere. A wave of concern washed over me as I noticed that something was weighing on his mind. Before long, I noticed that he had ceased his search. He gently revealed it, holding a jar of pain relief medication with care. Instead of leaving, he decided to stay. Once again, his eyes held onto me. "Are you getting ready for an exciting occasion?" "I'm just starting my day, so not yet." I met his gaze, determined to uphold a sense of normalcy. "What's the reason behind that?" Leaning against his shoulders and the bed, the ambience in the room thickened with each passing moment. "I'm experiencing some uncertainty. A remarkable transformation is evident in you." I was genuinely surprised by that remark. "Have I experienced any changes?" I faced him, towel-clad, and locked my gaze onto him with intensity. His eyes held a profound depth, hinting at mysteries I had yet to unravel. An intense and all-consuming emotion, an awe-inspiring experience that left me speechless. "Have you noticed any changes in me recently? Can you please elaborate on what you mean?" I communicated with him more calmly than I had intended. Logan traced his tongue along his lips, briefly shifting his gaze before locking eyes with me again. "I'm struggling to express my thoughts clearly. I find myself questioning the answer." In that moment, I was at a loss for words. The silence that developed between us became more and more burdensome. The air was heavy with unexpressed tension, creating an unsettling feeling about how to address it. Logan was the son of my partner. It seemed inappropriate to experience these feelings. I experienced a profound inner struggle seeking to grasp the complexities of our changing relationship. Just as I was searching for the right words, Logan moved in, narrowing the gap between us. As I looked at him, my heart raced, leaving me unsure of my next move. He halted a short distance away, fixing his gaze on me with intensity. He delivered it in a soft, soothing tone. I hope this doesn't come off as strange, but I've been navigating a situation lately that's been quite difficult for me to understand. Suddenly, I was gasping for air. I found myself utterly speechless. I was unsure of the most effective way to reply. Honestly, I experienced the same feelings, noticing that delicate change in our connection, as if we were coming together in a fresh manner, surpassing our family ties. I began to speak, my voice trembling just a bit. Logan, I honestly can't grasp what's unfolding, but just as I was nearing the end, he leaned in a little closer and gently brushed his hand against mine. The exchange was gentle and considerate, filling me with a thrill of anticipation. It was exhilarating, igniting a profound sense of awe within me. As I observed the situation develop, my heart raced, a clear indication that we had ventured into uncharted territory despite the gradual buildup leading to this moment. Logan murmured, "I understand this isn't how it should be." With his hand clasped around mine, his voice quivered, heavy with emotion. However, my emotions seemed to be beyond my control. Words eluded me. The moment was charged with a profound intensity, prompting deep reflection as my mind swirled with thoughts that seemed too intricate to fully comprehend. He was my master, the protector of Richard. Yet, the profound bond one experienced with him was undeniable. At that moment, I felt an undeniable urge to express my need to depart, stepping back and severing the bond that had formed between us. I could feel the tremor in my voice and the heat flushing my cheeks. Logan conveyed his profound regret through a heartfelt gesture, softly murmuring an apology. "I apologize, even if it was not meant to be taken seriously." "Okay," I voiced my thoughts, working to regain my equilibrium once again. "Looking forward to connecting later." I quickly trailed after him, departing the bathroom without a second thought. My thoughts were a chaotic storm of confusion, guilt, and an emotion I wasn't prepared to confront. As I softly shut the door to my room, I discovered a sense of peace and revitalized my spirit within its comforting embrace. My heart raced wildly in my chest. What just happened? What led to everything happening so quickly? What steps should he take next at this moment? Despite the absence of any specific events, I felt utterly adrift, unsure of what my next step should be. All day long, I worked hard to maintain the facade that everything was just fine. I finished the housework, handled the shopping, and concentrated on moving beyond the memories of what happened in the bathroom. Despite my best efforts, the memories of Logan continued to haunt my mind. The intimacy of his presence, the gentle warmth of his touch, and the profound emotion reflected in his eyes, an experience unlike any other, etched themselves into my heart and mind, rendering them truly unforgettable. The result fell short of my expectations. I tied the knot with Richard, and Logan stepped into my life as my stepson. What started as a simple and close bond took an unexpected turn, and I failed to see the change until it was already behind us. I spent most of the day in the comfort of my own company at home. Following our meeting, Richard set off on one of his work trips, leaving me to reflect on my thoughts in quiet contemplation. The silence at home was deep and all-consuming, urging me to confront the truth of what had happened. Again and again, that moment echoed in my mind. The intimacy we experienced, the intensity of his words igniting my pulse, and the magnetic pull I couldn't resist. As darkness fell, my sense of unease intensified. As the day unfolded, the absence of news about Logan enveloped me in a soothing sense of tranquility. After everything that happened, I found myself unsure of how to approach him, and I was at a loss for words if he decided to bring it up. Still, a part of me, no matter how hard I tried to push it away, longed for him to be there. I couldn't help but ponder his whereabouts, his thoughts, and if he shared the same feelings of uncertainty that consumed me. While lounging on the sofa, a nearly empty glass of wine in hand, I was startled by the unmistakable creak of the main door swinging open. With a sudden rush of emotion, I released the glass instantly and concentrated on regaining my tranquility. Moments later, Logan stepped into the room, his face a canvas of neutrality. When our gazes met, an intense stillness surrounded us. We found ourselves adrift in the profound depths of each other's gaze. The air crackled with tension between us. He welcomed me gently, shattering the silence with his comforting words. His voice was soft and hesitant, as if approaching me posed a significant challenge for him. As his greeting reached my ears, I replied with a voice that trembled with feeling. As I opened my eyes, an unsettling feeling enveloped me. He expressed his uncertainties. "I wasn't sure if you'd return today," he responded. "Absolutely, I was simply looking to relish some moments in the great outdoors." He gazed through the glass, his mind wandering far beyond the surface. He exuded a palpable tension as if he were in a frantic search for the ideal words. In his gaze, there was an undeniable depth, a mirror to my own emotions. Even with my best attempts, my thoughts overwhelmed me. This was my opportunity to express my emotions, to illuminate the situation we found ourselves in, and to foster clarity and understanding in all aspects. However, I struggled to express my ideas in words. I maintained my focus on him, noting how the shirt conformed to his physique and how his dark hair softly cascaded over his eyes. He has transformed significantly since the day I said "I do" to Richard. He experienced a significant transformation in his adult life. In that instant, enveloped by the quietude of the space, it was undeniable to sense it. Logan came forward, offering his heartfelt apologies for our earlier discussion. He spoke with a soft, soothing tone. He aimed to maintain a sense of ease in the situation. However, I am left perplexed by the events that unfolded. I shook my head, letting out a deep, heavy sigh. I shared my thoughts out loud, but my tone unmistakably revealed that something was off. I was taken by surprise. "Let's cut through the noise and narrow down the options." He offered a subtle nod. As he lifted his gaze, our eyes met in a deeply significant moment. I frequently ponder my role within this family. Sometimes, I struggle to convey my thoughts to you. I recognize that it's not ideal, but handling my emotions proves to be quite difficult for me. The words he uttered sent shivers down my spine, enveloping me in a heavy, suffocating haze. I sensed an urgent desire to communicate something that could help avert this situation from escalating any further. However, I couldn't ignore the undeniable truth in his words. A connection existed between us, one that had been developing over time, and accepting it was a challenge for me. "Logan," I began to speak. My words flowed forth with a soft tremor. "It seems completely out of reach. This cannot be allowed. You are the fortress of Richard." As I entered, I could sense the weight of his sorrowful voice. Despite that insight, my feelings stayed the same. He edged a little nearer, and I could feel the warmth emanating from him. With each heartbeat, the gap between us closed. I intended to take a step back to establish some distance, but my legs seemed rooted to the spot. Instead of retreating, I remained in place, feeling my heart race. Rather than pulling away, I decided to reach out and take his hand. The connection was powerful, wrapping around me in a warmth that I couldn't overlook. I cast my eyes toward him. A wave of emotions surged within me as I saw those same feelings reflected in his gaze. A feeling of uncertainty lingered, accompanied by a profound longing and a burdensome sense of regret. We openly shared all those emotions between us. Logan quietly conveyed his wish to prevent any hurt, his finger delicately gliding over the back of my hand. I can no longer keep up the facade that this isn't happening. Accepting it was a challenge for me. My mind was ensnared in a whirlwind of conflicting feelings. I experienced a profound certainty in my choices. We shared a connection, one that felt genuine and undeniable. Yet that just didn't sit well, did it? I embraced the role of a stepmother to Richard's son. This action seemed completely out of reach. As I stood there, observing him, the gentle touch of his hand sent my heart racing. I came to understand that I lacked the strength to distance myself. Not at this moment. No, not when we stood at the brink of something so deep, so genuine. I found myself in a challenging predicament, my voice slipping out as nothing more than a faint whisper. Logan moved a little closer, his grip firm as he held my hand. "We don't need to figure everything out at this moment," he said softly. "We need to face the reality of the situation rather than ignoring its existence." The words he uttered hung in the air around us, thick with everything left unsaid. At that moment, I fully grasped the magnitude of his achievement. The facade could no longer be maintained. The tension between us had been building for what felt like an eternity, and when the truth finally emerged, it became clear that there was no way to reverse the course we had set. Before I had a chance to reply, Logan shared his feelings, prompting me to reflect deeply on the limits of our relationship. At that instant, I decided to reply with a kiss. My hand softly settled on his neck, pulling him closer to me. That moment encapsulated the profound sorrow and the unvoiced emotions we had kept hidden inside. An intense longing, a swirl of confusion and regret intertwined with a deep emotional bond, an experience that resembled love. I had no idea of its importance. I felt a sense of uncertainty about the destination we were heading towards. At that moment, a wave of tranquility enveloped me. As we exchanged our final farewells, a heavy sigh slipped from our lips. As our foreheads met, the gravity of our recent decisions left us both stunned. Yet, rather than experiencing remorse, I found myself enveloped in a unique emotion, a profound sense of tranquility. A wave of relief washed over me as the long-standing tension between us finally reached its breaking point. Mask wearing is no longer a requirement. Logan looked at me, his face revealing a whirlwind of profound feelings. He inquired gently, "What shall we do next?" He paused, revealing the conflict within him. I have yet to receive a response. It was clear that the dynamics between us had shifted dramatically. In that instant, as I grasped his hand, it became clear to me that I had no desire to go back. At that moment, I communicated that this was far from the end. The words escaped my lips without my awareness. Then I added, "Together, we will find a way forward." A wave of tranquility washed over me as he smiled, a sensation I hadn't experienced since that morning in the bathroom. Regardless of what this means or how it evolves, we will face it together. The narrative continues to evolve. In the days that followed, we experienced a harmonious mix of peaceful moments, gentle gestures, and unvoiced feelings that softly resonated between Logan and me. In the wake of that first kiss, an undeniable shift settled between us, a recognition of the boundary we had just crossed. Instead of experiencing guilt or sadness, we felt a wave of relief wash over us, as if the tension that had hung between us for weeks had finally dissipated. In that moment of relief, we realized that our future had changed completely. While Richard was away for work, Logan and I often found ourselves spending time alone at home. The tranquil moments we experienced together took on a deep significance. Every gesture and each expression of joy appeared to hide unvoiced inquiries. What is the connection to our group? What's our next destination? What is the duration for which we can uphold the confidentiality of this information? One evening, just a few days after our first kiss, Logan and I reunited in the backyard once again. As dusk descended, the sun gracefully withdrew, enveloping the garden in a warm, golden hue, while the air held onto the soothing warmth of the day. We had settled into a soothing rhythm, enjoying our evenings under the stars, indulging in playful dialogues, and savoring the tranquil moments that flourish when two hearts connect in a special way. Logan settled into the seat next to me. Our elbows gently grazed one another. An overwhelming surge of feeling enveloped me as I experienced the comforting heat of his skin pressed against my own. His gaze lingered on me, and as I turned to meet his eyes, a soft, shy smile graced his lips, sending my heart racing. "Could I ask you a question?" His voice was a gentle murmur, barely rising above a whisper. "Text, absolutely," I responded, subtly adjusting my focus toward him. He looked down at his hands, as if drawing upon an inner strength to express his emotions. "Have you thought about the importance of this, given our situation?" The intensity of the moment overwhelmed me, my heart racing fiercely within my chest. My mind drifted in countless directions, but I opted for silence instead of voicing my thoughts. Confronting the reality of the situation unfolding between the two proved to be quite challenging for me. I realized that my voice was softer than I had expected. I find myself questioning if I possessed the right answers. He nodded slowly, his gaze directed toward the ground. "I need you to grasp that this is not something temporary or brief, all right? Your presence in my life holds immense value to me. I often go beyond the limits. This situation is undoubtedly tough, and I'm struggling to navigate my emotions." The words you uttered hung in the atmosphere, weighted with everything left unsaid. A profound sense of suffocation washed over me, and my heart throbbed as I faced the reality of your words. I was genuinely worried about his well-being, as it appeared to exceed the boundaries of safety. Yet, I couldn't shake the profound worry about the implications for us, our future together, and my relationship with Richard. I expressed my concern for you, my voice trembling with feeling. This scenario transcends our personal experiences alone. Richard occupies a cherished spot in our hearts and is intricately intertwined with the essence of our lives. Is it time for him to discover the truth? Logan's expression revealed a profound intensity. He clenched his jaw, feeling the weight of his emotions wash over him. "I completely grasp your viewpoint. My feelings for him run deep, yet I can no longer ignore the emotions that surface between us." I sought the perfect words while he softly nibbled on my lip. Our connection was authentic, but we recognized that there would be consequences. Causing Richard any pain was never my intention. Despite my desire not to disappoint him, I couldn't overlook the undeniable connection that existed between Logan and me. I whispered gently, unsure of what the best decision could be. "I've come to the conclusion that I can no longer ignore this situation. As I glanced upward, I noticed the myriad of emotions shimmering in Logan's eyes. A blend of hope, a touch of apprehension, and an intense yearning. He paused, extending his hand toward me, his warm fingers softly weaving together with mine. The intimacy wrapped around me, bringing a wave of tranquility that rejuvenated my soul in that instant. Gently, he communicated that a solution awaited us as he delicately traced his finger along the back of my hand. Together, we will overcome any challenges that come our way. His words struck a profound chord within me, igniting an unshakable conviction in my heart. At that instant, clarity emerged. As fear, confusion, and uncertainty dissipated, a serene clarity emerged, bringing a refreshing sense of peace. While we may not have had all the answers, it wasn't essential to have that clarity. What truly mattered was our collective strength in this situation, and that our mutual concern carried the utmost importance. As the sun gracefully sank beneath the horizon, we found ourselves enveloped in a moment of serene contemplation, with elongated shadows softly waltzing through the garden. The soft breeze hung in the air, while the distant chirping of crickets gently broke the tranquil silence as day elegantly shifted into night. As I rested my head on Logan's shoulder, the calm cadence of his breath enveloped me, bringing a wave of tranquility that had eluded me for far too long. While I longed to capture that moment for eternity, the reality was never far away. As the time approached for Richard's return home, a profound sense of unease settled within me at the thought of seeing him again. How do I face the gaze, considering the history that exists between Logan and me? How can someone maintain the illusion that all is well when, beneath the surface, everything feels off? In the days that followed, Logan and I focused on maintaining our composure, cultivating a sense of tranquility around us, despite the looming need to face the challenging reality of our situation. The clarity of our connection was undeniable, but the weight of regret soon began to weigh heavily on my heart. As I lay in bed the night before Richard's return, my eyes were fixed on the ceiling above. Amidst the unyielding chaos of my thoughts, discovering peace seemed like an unattainable dream. Within the tranquility of the home, the sole sound was the soft hum of the air conditioning as it cycled on and off. Finding peace and sleep seemed completely out of reach. Logan's presence filled my thoughts, reviving memories of our intimacy and the profound bond we shared, awakening emotions that had been hidden away for far too long. A decision presented itself to me. Navigating this situation has proven to be a daunting challenge, as I find myself caught in a whirlwind of emotions for Logan while trying to honor my commitment to Richard. However, the mere idea of making that decision, of saying goodbye to one of them, was an unbearable weight to carry. While I reclined in contemplation, a subtle sound caught my attention emanating from the door of the room. My heart raced as if it were lodged in my throat. As I nestled into my seat, a surge of excitement coursed through me, making my heart race with anticipation. I gently invited the individual to come in. My words flowed forth with a soft tremor. The door creaked open, and Logan knocked gently, his voice laced with concern. He leaned in, his expression turning serious as he said, "I need to talk to you about something important." Once he closed the door, he perched on the edge of the bed, allowing the day's burdens to envelop him. In that moment, silence wrapped around us, and the heaviness of unvoiced thoughts hung in the atmosphere. He spoke in a gentle tone, his eyes cast downward, expressing his reflections on his comments regarding Richard and recognizing the difficulties at hand. "I prefer not to put any pressure on you to make a decision." It was a challenge for him to come to terms with it. His heartfelt tone created a tight knot in my chest. At that instant, he abruptly interjected, declaring his love. His voice resonated powerfully, brimming with profound emotion. "I'm uncertain about the exact moment it happened, but my heart overflows with a deep love for you. I understand that our feelings may not align, but I sincerely hope you can take my emotions into account." The words he uttered resonated within me, rendering me momentarily speechless. Deep within my soul, I always had the conviction that he shared my feelings. As he voiced those words, the intensity of his feelings echoed within, revealing a sense of authenticity. "I share a profound love for you," I murmured gently. The words escaped my grasp, unbidden and free. Logan looked at me, his eyes sparkling with a blend of astonishment and optimism. Did I really ask that? I truly connect with that sentiment. My heart raced in my chest, but that doesn't make things any easier. In that moment of silence, a deep stillness enveloped me, rendering me momentarily speechless and unable to continue the conversation. At that moment, I grasped that I had reached a profound understanding. I decided to unveil my authentic self, my eyes longing to forge a connection with his. Upon reflection, I realized that my choice was influenced more by my emotions than by rational thought. In that moment, a wave of tranquility washed over me. He quickly grasped my message and welcomed my proposal. I curled up beside him and exchanged a soft kiss. We fully embraced our emotions, and the experience was nothing short of profoundly intense. By embracing my feelings, I discovered a profound sense of peace. Just as everything began with remarkable intensity, it also reached a rapid conclusion. I can sense the thrill he must have felt, and I genuinely relate to it. In that moment, he reached out and grasped my hand. We shared a moment of silence, our eyes locking in a gaze that conveyed everything. The burden of the world pressed down on our shoulders. He spoke softly, embodying a sense of calm and determination. We will find a path ahead, no matter the obstacles in our way. At that moment, I experienced a profound trust in what he said. Despite the pressure to decide, I was filled with a profound confidence in what the correct choice would be. As Richard stepped through the door that morning, an unsettling calm enveloped the atmosphere, reminiscent of the eerie stillness that often precedes a brewing storm. The tension that had been brewing between Logan and me was undeniable. He hung in the air like a delicate fog, wrapping around us in an inescapable embrace. Richard's return hinted at impending changes, leaving us in a state of anticipation and curiosity about what lay ahead. Our relationship has shifted in a way I never expected. We reached a profound insight into our intricate feelings. No matter how much effort I put into moving on, it remained ever-present and unwavering. As Richard stepped back into their lives, he was greeted with a heartfelt embrace, a soft kiss on the cheek, and the soothing familiarity of their cherished routine. We reflected on the moments we shared while being apart. Richard seemed oblivious to the subtle distance that had emerged between us. The happiness he once shared enveloped the home in a warm embrace of familiarity. Yet beneath that exterior, a profound heaviness settled on his chest. Every look we exchanged and every word we spoke with Logan held the significance of the unspoken feelings that hung in the air between us. Richard's return introduced an intriguing twist to the unfolding scenario. Following dinner that evening, Richard proposed we convene in the living room for a meaningful discussion together. I completely concurred. While seated on the sofa, I tried to wear a smile despite the whirlwind of emotions causing my heart to race. Logan was seated opposite me. For a fleeting instant, our eyes locked in a silent exchange. Regrettably, we couldn't initiate a discussion without Richard present. He recounted his travel experience and the numerous responsibilities he felt obliged to keep us informed about. The surrounding voices reverberated, posing a significant challenge to my focus. In the end, Richard shared his regrets and headed off to work, leaving Logan and me alone in the living room. After he left, an intense stillness filled the room, allowing them both to pause and reflect in silence. With a sense of unease, Logan stayed seated in the chair. His hands tightened into fists as though he were attempting to protect himself from my very existence. A wave of guilt surged through me, prompting me to lower my head. I completely understand the circumstances, but it's important that we bring this to Richard's attention. He warrants a higher standard of care. He simply doesn't merit it. Logan came to a sudden halt and made his way back to me. What are your thoughts on it? He raised the question. I exhaled deeply. The weight of my forthcoming words bore heavily on my heart. It is essential that we find a solution to this matter. The constant state of uncertainty has reached an unbearable level. His eyes were fixed on me. His expression revealed a profound mix of sorrow and understanding. He softly murmured, "You are correct. What importance does that carry for our circumstances?" I found it exceptionally difficult to decide between Richard and Logan without reaching a conclusion. However, I realized that keeping the secret was no longer practical. Failure to act swiftly could lead to the truth revealing itself in a way that might cause pain for all involved. I candidly admitted that I still lacked the answer. My voice barely registered with him. Staying authentic to who you are is essential. Understanding the importance of our connections is crucial. Logan nodded in agreement, yet the sorrow in his eyes was impossible to miss. He approached me. He settled beside me on the sofa, his hands softly resting on mine, and for a fleeting moment, we shared a tranquil embrace in the stillness. The gravity of our circumstances bore heavily upon us. His gentle touch enveloped me in warmth and comfort, inviting me to lie down beside him, resting my head on his shoulder. He subtly expressed his desire for a different reality. I softly conveyed that I shared those feelings, yet maintaining this facade indefinitely feels unsustainable. We lingered in that moment, wrapped in the stillness of the room, occasionally broken by Richard's voice resonating from the adjacent space. as he conversed on the phone. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, a serene pause before the inevitable challenge that awaited us. The next morning, just as Richard was heading out for work, I unexpectedly ran into Logan in the kitchen. The quiet space between us was filled with unspoken words waiting to be revealed. The atmosphere was thick with tension, making it essential to spark a conversation to outline the next steps, but the right words just slipped away from me. In the end, I broke the silence with a firm statement. Logan's face was etched with a serious demeanor. I have indeed been pondering that too. We came together at the kitchen table, embracing the warmth of each other's company. The weight of our conversation hung in the air, affecting us both deeply. I took a moment to collect my thoughts, despite the difficulty I faced. The scenario appeared overwhelmingly challenging and remarkably complex. As I began to express my feelings for Richard, my words came out tinged with uncertainty. I must take a moment to recognize the situation that is developing between us. Logan, you mean so much to me, and dealing with this situation regarding my marriage to your father is incredibly difficult for me. With a forward lean, Logan placed his elbows on the table. As he confided in Anna, his feelings ran deep. I care for you profoundly, and the mere thought of bringing you any pain burdens my heart. The thought of being apart is just as challenging for me to endure. The words he spoke resonated with me profoundly, stirring emotions that brought tears to my eyes. A profound urgency surged within me to prevent his escape, yet the undeniable truth of our circumstances loomed large. The situation was daunting, and we had to change our course to avert total disaster. I expressed my desire to take a break, my voice barely above a whisper as I felt a subtle tremor within it. Approaching the nature of this relationship with calmness and understanding is crucial. Creating some space might be essential to achieve it. Logan's features became indistinct, and I could feel the anguish mirrored in his gaze. He highlighted the significance of establishing some distance between us. Every word resonated with his emotions. A profound sadness enveloped me as I felt the heavy burden resting on my heart. This seems to be the only way to genuinely understand our emotions. It seems impossible to discover a solution without Richard leading the way. Logan sat in silence for what felt like an eternity, his gaze fixed intently on the table in front of him. The profound conflict carved into his expression mirrored the turmoil stirring deep within me. Taking a deep breath, he exhaled softly and murmured, "I understand if you think this is the right decision." I extended my hand and grasped his softly. "Logan, it truly saddens me to consider the possibility of separation. Yet it's crucial that we maintain honesty with ourselves and each other." He raised his eyes, exposing a profound sorrow and empathy that lingered within them. He expressed his profound concern about the chance of losing Lauren despite being ready to take any necessary steps. Following that conversation, I find myself drained, but a wave of tranquility envelopes me. We ceased the pretense and began to accept the reality of our situation, signaling the start of our journey toward grasping how to progress from that moment onward. Despite the challenges, it was the only way forward to keep making progress. In the days that followed, Logan and I decided to keep our distance, allowing ourselves the time needed to reflect on the situation. It was complex, demanding, and essential. Though the future felt uncertain, I was confident that together we would face whatever came our way. Ultimately, a choice needed to be reached, yet for the moment we were progressing slowly, exploring the intricate feelings that had led us here. No matter the circumstances, I sensed the profound connection that united us. What united us would persist, even as circumstances changed. That night, as I settled into bed, the house was wrapped in a calming silence, and a profound sense of tranquility washed over me. While it may not have been flawless or straightforward, it carried a sense of authenticity that was more than enough for that moment.